All right, folks, give me a second. I hear a big baby barking. Big baby barking, Build Back Better. Big baby barking, so I'm going to go get him. I'm going to go get my cup of hot tea. Got my trusty calculator, and we'll get chat. We'll get started. Hold on just a sec. Ooh. Notice Washington Generals. Got my Washington Generals shirt. Then again, for the love of all that is good. Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go. Then again. All right, amigos. So before we get started, come on, Pablo. I was reading the politically incorrect guide to the Civil War about General Braxton Bragg, and apparently not a very good general, according to the author H.W. Crocker III. Maybe they should rename Fort Bragg. It's like, dude, at least name it after a guy who knew what the hell he's doing. Name it Fort Chamberlain for Joshua Chamberlain. If you want to name it after a Southern general, I'm fine with that. But at least name it after a winner, right? My goodness, man. I was like, dude, Fort Bragg sounds like Braxton Bragg was not a very good general. Apparently, General Johnston wasn't either. And so why are we naming, freaking army posts after bad generals? Anyway. Kind of interesting. All right, so before we get into questions, I do want to go into a little bit more on that Fred database we were looking at earlier today. Hold on just a second. Let's just see what's on my reading list, shall we? Real quick. Let's see what's on my reading list here. We got my man Michael Edison, why Nassim Taleb says Bitcoin is worthless. Very looking forward to that. We got the 0 to negative multiplier of debt on growth. I think we talked about that a little bit last live stream. I tell you, I'm very excited about looking at this Funrise. Maybe we'll go into this a little bit here today. This gets me fired up, man, especially after what we went through. Oh, wait, you guys can't see that. Hold on a sec. I got to show the screen with you. Hold on a sec. I got to show. All right, so we share. Yeah, right here. So here's Funrise real estate investments, which seems, I tell you, this seems pretty interesting to me. I'm very much looking forward to diving into this. So you go to investments, and you can go to where did I go here? I went to 1 second. I went down here. That's how it works to get started. Help you decide how it works. I think that's what I did. Did I go here? No, I didn't. Hold on a second. Let me find out where I went here, because I was able to find investments, how it works. I saw where you can actually look at the investments they had, and I said, that's pretty cool. Was it right? Example? No. Where the heck was it, man? There's on a product. Each of our portfolios. All right, here we go. Yeah, so here you go to our portfolios. All right, actually, let's go back. So go to our portfolios, and you can see some of the stuff they're investing in. And here's a single-family rental in Charleston, North Carolina, single-family home in Jarrell, Texas, wherever that is. So you can go down to Orlando, Florida, Jessup, Missouri, stabilized commercial, stabilized apartments in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let's go to Newark. Let's go to Cleveland, Texas. Louisville, Texas. Let's go to Cleveland, Texas. Single family rental. So they got 4.3 million in single family rentals here, single family rentals, and they got 32 homes here, and you can view details. But BlackRock is buying up all the real estate. Oops, now I got to change this over. Hold on just a second. So we got to change that. Hold on just a second. You got to stop screen. I got to make share this screen. And we're going to go to Chrome tab. And here it is. So here's Pinewood Trails. And look, I'm not saying you should invest in, I don't know the slightest thing. I thought this was pretty interesting. You can actually see what you're investing in, which I thought was pretty cool. So here's a single family resident in some place called Cleveland, Texas, or something like that. And you can actually, they got 16 houses they acquired in May. Rental home community near Houston, Texas. It will keep you posted out of this mouth. So, I mean, I don't know how it works. I just think it's pretty interesting. See full market analysis. You can see a map on this. I mean, you can literally get the directions if you want to go drive by the property, which is pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? So here's, wherever Cleveland, Texas is, north of Houston, you got Glacier something, Loop or something like that. I thought that was pretty cool. Anyways, that's one of the investments there. So I think that's pretty cool. So let's just see here real quick. Investments. Now I can't remember how I got there again. I think I went down to, right here. I think I went down to real estate. I think I went to here, product, real estate, our portfolios. Well, I already did that. I went, all right, let's just go to, we'll start here, advanced. And I think you can go to, all right, I can't remember. Each select. Anyway, there's a way to see what they had for their portfolios, which is what I think I kind of just showed you. That was pretty cool. I'm a big fan. Anyway, I think there's opportunity there. And again, I don't know the slightest about what they're charging or anything. I just don't know. But I think there's some opportunity there for sure. All right, so then I want to go back to that Fred article. Hold on just a second. And I want to share with you guys. Hold on. All right, where's freaking real estate, man? Come on, killing me. Real estate. Right there. All right, sweet. All right, so I want to go back to, all right, so let's look at Chrome tab right here. All right. So my man, I forgot his name. Let's go to, this is the Fred data. What's this guy's name? He said that he posted a great comment on the video I did earlier today. See Finney, I don't see Pablo. All right, so he said, let's go to videos. All right, hold on just a second. Hold on just a second. I think it's all the way down. All right. Price to ink. Where's this freaking guy's comment, man? Is in here someplace. Is yeah, I'm not gonna be able to find it while you guys are waiting for me. Oh, right here. Junior Crandall said, this is fantastic. Josh, run the numbers from 1980 till 2020. House payment as a percentage of family income. House payment was 29% of family income in 1980. House payment is 14% of family income in 2020. Also, the houses in forbearance that will need to be sold is a small number, maybe 65,000. That was interesting. So I don't know how you get this, but I want to, we're going to see house payment as a percentage of income. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and we're going to just click on house median household income. Estimate of median household income for Georgia. Yeah, it's house payment. Let's try something else. And it might be in the CPS, the Census Bureau. Yeah, all right. I have to come back to that. That is incredibly interesting to me. House housing. Anyway, I have to look at it. Might be on the Census Bureau stuff, but estimate of median household income. That doesn't tell us the housing income relative to the housing cost. So I have to come back to that. I find that to be incredibly interesting, though. Yeah, all right. We'll come back to that. So that's good because there's a couple of things that in of itself jump out at me. With women in the workforce, there's more income and people are buying bigger houses, but essentially there's more family. There's less family. When the woman goes to work, and it could be a man, I don't care. But when there's two people working, there is less of the familial ties. A lot of ways. Not all the time, and there's always exceptions to the rule. Trust me. But the drawback about the women revolution of going to the workforce is that A, increased disposable income. That's 100% true. B, it allowed women to make money for themselves. 100% true. We're not relying on their husbands. But there's a cost to this that cannot be, you just simply can't deny. And that is a family breakdown of like we've never seen before in terms of less children. Prosperity brings less children, which is one of the reasons why they've always wanted the women to be out of the workforce, because they don't like children. They being the global cabal, and as such, we have the more and more families with more and more parents both working, fewer and fewer raising their children. The children thus get raised by who? The state is what happens. If you're a friggin' horseman type, this is perfect, man. You know what I'm saying? The Prussian model of creating good citizens, this is perfect because the state will raise the children while the mom and dad are at work. Not good. It's just bad. A lot of children are being raised by the state, and the state doesn't give two craps about the kid. The state just wants to enhance the state's power, man. And that's so even though as a household, the housing costs as a percentage of household income might be dropping. In of itself, that's not a good thing. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just doesn't mean it's good. It just means there could be some, what we say in economics, unintended consequences. And this is a drawback. People say, well, look, they're spending less on their housing. Yeah, because both parents are working freaking 60-hour weeks and they never see their kids and blah, blah, blah. And again, if this is you, I'm not slighting anyone who does this. My goodness, man. Trust me, I'm not. But what I am saying is there is sacrifices on both sides of this equation. I hope that makes sense. I want to dive into that a little bit more, and I'll have to look at the Census Bureau numbers after this live stream because I thought that was pretty interesting what that guy told me. And that was a good comment. Lots of good comments actually on that thing. I just if you look at the log versus the linear, and again the log says, so I just cannot stress this enough. 10 to 20, 20 to 30, all right, 10 to 20, 20 to 30 are the same increases in number of units. They both go up by 10. 10 to 20 is 100% increase, where 20 to 30 is only a 50% increase. So even though it went up by 10 units from 10 to 20, it is not the same. 20 to 30 is not the same in total percentages, which is all that matters, than it is from 10 to 20. And when you look at the log scale from the Fed, the data from the Federal Reserve Board of St. Louis, and you look at the log as opposed to just a linear, it's I'm telling you, man, you can't make a case there's a bubble. You just can't. Are the prices high? Yeah. Well, are the prices high in stocks? Yeah. Are the prices high in bonds? Yeah. You can make a case that prices are high, but you can't make a case that they're in bubble territory. You just can't. Now, as location, I get it, man. Are some places in bubble forever? Always. In fact, it's funny. We're watching the Twilight Zone last night. Chloe, me, and I guess Kevin was with us, and it was the third episode ever. And one of the actresses, she wanted to go back to the 1930s, where it's careless and people are free and everyone's just having fun. It's like, dude, the 1930s were the Great Depression, man. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it depends on your perspective. But if you look at the overall real estate as a whole, you can't sit there and say it's a bubble. Now, should you load up on debt to buy some real estate? No, I wouldn't do that. But if you're thinking about it and you have the financial resources, you might not want to say, I'm going to wait for a crash, because I'm not sure a crash is going to come. In fact, what is a crash in real estate? It's not like a stock market crash. So you just look, you got, I'm not prepared to do this, but you also got to think about the millennials. All right. So remember, you have the baby boom generation, the boomers, the baby bust generation. That's me. So it went shoop and fell off a cliff. And then you had the millennials. The millennials are freaking just coming into their capacity of homeowners. Now, I know it. Everyone's their mom saying, well, they don't have any money. They don't work. They don't have any jobs and all that stuff. It's just, look, some of that's true for sure. A lot of that's false. A lot of these millennials are working. They're making money. It's just a fact, man. And now they're just coming into their own as homeowners. A huge population dwarfs the baby bust, me. But you have less homes being built, more regulation on them. It seems to me that in decent communities, there's going to be such a bigger demand. And look, I've been thinking about real estate a long time, but it's not until I saw that log scale, it never occurred to me as much as it is now, that it seems to me that real estate in good quality locations usually contend around good schools. And you say good, how well they freaking take the test, which is stupid, but it is what it is, man. I argue this with my wife all the time. It doesn't matter what the stupid greatschools.org says. What matters is, are there two-parent families? Because two-parent families mean good schools. That's all there is to it. Those two things are freaking tied at the hip. But at the end of the day, if you want to sell your house, you want to sell your house from a good school district. Hey, long story short, I was sitting there thinking, they get all these millennials now who are in their 30s having children and have started to get in their beginning of the earnings capacity. On top of receiving inheritances from grandma, there's gonna be some housing demand increase that we haven't seen in probably 15 years or so, just because these people are coming out. That's all there is to it. And as that housing demand increases, the supply is flattened, if not outright declining, relative to demand. That only increases the prices too. So the point being is, I'd always thought, and I still do, that I don't, like the guy says here, that Bangor, Maine is booming. It might well be, but I still think in my mind's eye, I say to myself, how can places like Maine and New Hampshire, Vermont, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, these old states, I don't get how the real estate can sustain itself when they're all dominated by older people who are dying off. I just don't. I don't get it. I don't see how that cannot be eventually affordable. But, maybe I'm just wrong. Maybe I'm just wrong in that. So I've always thought that, some of these vacation communities, and we looked up here north. No, we didn't. I don't want to live there. But what's it called? Big Canoe in north of Atlanta. That's where a lot of like SunTrust executives used to go and have their second homes and stuff. And I remember I had a couple clients up there, and they were telling me the freaking market there is flat to sinking because no one wants to live there anymore because there's no schools and all the older people, retirees, are dying off. So you got a lot more supply than demand because young families don't want to move there. Even though it's a freaking beautiful community. Schools aren't great. Schools aren't really, they don't exist. Young families aren't moving in. Older families are dying off by the dozens because they're the people who domiciled there, and the prices are falling like a cliff. That, that's probably 7 to 8 years ago. I haven't really looked at it since, but that made sense. As the old people die off and the younger people aren't there to replace them, and the old people were the baby boomers, and they have all these houses and second homes and stuff, they're going to be flooding the market. That's my thought. And I still think it's right. I just don't know where it's going to be right, if that makes sense. So I'm thinking like Bangor, man, it's all old people up there. So why? I mean, I know they got University of Maine up that way, but still, it's like, why would Bangor, Maine be hopping? And especially if all these old people are dying off, and it just doesn't make sense. You'd think that there'd be more supply than demand. It seems like I'm probably wrong there. Anyway, it's interesting. So, be that as may, those are the kind of thoughts that just occur to me as I sit there and say, what's the best use of my financial resources? All right, let me close my door. Hold on. Interesting. All right, so let's take some questions here. All right, Kim's in the house. Dan in the Pacific Northwest. Thanks for being spot on in a reasonable way. Refresher for someone to tell like it is. well, I hope so. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not afraid to say I don't know. That's the thing is if someone says, oh, you think I don't have all the answers? Hell, man, I know less than, I'm wrong more often than I'm right, probably. I see it as I call it as I see it. And sometimes I change. How dare you change, Josh? You should never change. It's freaking stupid to say that. I mean, the situation dictates. That's what we used to say in the Army. If the situation changes, you change with it. I mean, just to fall on your sword to say, look, I told you so. I don't want to tell you so. I want to say, look, this is the way I see it. I might be wrong. Crazy. All right. So Kim's got the first question of the day. Why bonds my portfolio? I have some in Wellesley, and that fund is only getting about a 3% return. Is that true? Is Wellesley only getting, and I say only because I don't know that to be true, but let's take a look. Let's see what Wellesley is doing, shall we? And Kim is beginning on the stages of the fear of missing out. I'm telling you, been through this many times. Why should I have this when everything else is getting that? Why should I have this? And so the first thing, Kim, is be careful. I'm telling you right now. So we're going to go to Schwab. We're going to do some research. We're going to look up. I'm not sure if Schwab gives us year-to-date performance on funds. Let's take a look. So let's look. We'll bring you guys up here and share screen. All right. Here we go. Blink. All right. So we're going to share you. We're going to show you the screen here. We're going to type in VWINX, Vanguard Wellesley Fund. And we're going to see what this is doing so far. I don't know if they give us year-to-date as of Friday. So let's see. So it's got distribution yield of 2.38. You got ants in your pants, Finney. That is a fact, buddy. You can't sit still. All right. I'm not seeing any year-to-date. So let's still don't see year-to-date. Let's do this. YTD. Anything on YTD? Oh, right there. Right there. Okay, that's giving us 5.96. So as of, or is giving us, I should say, no, it has given us 5.96 for the year as of 23rd of July. So that's not so bad. I'll take that. So Wellesley has given us 5.96. Let's look at Wellington. Hi, ants in your pants. I got ants. Ants in my pants. You know, I'm talking to you. And Wellington is giving us 12.59. All right. And let's look at VTSAX. VTSAX, total stock index. And that's given us 17.58. Wow. All right. So Kim is showing why should I have Wellesley when these other funds are smoking that. So first of all, Wellesley has given us about 6% year to date. Wellington's given us about twice that, and VTSAX, the total stock index, is getting about 3 times that. Just because we just retired. It's literally that simple. And what we've got to, I'm telling you, what we've got to avoid is a market decline. Of any significance. I would go to my grave saying the accumulation phase of a recent retiree is behind them. Accumulating is not what we're trying to accomplish. Now what we're trying to accomplish, is we're trying to accomplish sustainable wealth. Building sustainable wealth, the tagline of my whole channel, building sustainable wealth. Notice we're not saying building growth or growing wealth. We're saying building sustainable wealth. We have to sustain it with inflation and taxes in mind. You just can't afford a big drop. And it's coming. I don't know when, where, how, but it's inevitable to come. And when it does, there could be a lot of people saying, man, I was getting too aggressive. Look, we've been through this now many times. And the funny thing is, people forget all the time. I wish I could find the emails dude sent to me. Is in April of last year. He goes, man, I'm getting nervous, Josh. I think I should get out. I said, look, it's your money. Do whatever you got to do. But we know that what happens is you get out, you'll miss the gains coming back. It's going to come back at some point. We don't know when, where, how. But if you get out, it's just you're going to miss out on the upside. Now, he wasn't anywhere near retiring, but I'm just telling you, man, every year the market has a pretty significant kick in the pants. The average decline from top to bottom in any given calendar year is 14%. So even though you don't see it from year end to year end calendar returns, it's there. I mean, I'm just telling you, 2011, 2015, 2018, even the market was down in 2018, 1987, it's all there. 1997, 1998, we had some significant downturns in the market, even though they don't show on the year over year returns. I just telling you, it's nuts. And so if I just recently retired, I'm sacrificing accumulation for preservation. If I can clock a 6% year over year return, hell, a 6 month return, man, I'll take that any day of the week. All right. Angelo says, a viewer replied to a Roth conversion video stating the Roth conversions are subject to a 10% penalty. No. Roth conversions are not subject to a 10% penalty. I don't know why that guy said that. All right. Retirement Wellington Fund. When I'm done with the book, I'm going to read the little book of common sense investing from John Bogle. Yeah, right on, man. I got no qualm with that. Okay. I guess I missed some of the comments here. Hey, Harry. Anyone with good spreadsheet calculations, we have 3 options to choose for a small annuity. All right, divide. I missed what Rob's question was. I guess I can't get back. I wasn't quick enough. Yeah, well, it's funny. So I was talking to a couple from Texas the other day, and they're thinking about moving to Colorado. All right. And so the issue was Colorado, the prices aren't cheap. And in Texas, so basically they would be making the point being is they would sell their house in Texas. I can't remember. It was like for $500,000, something like that. And for a similar priced house, house, it'd be $700,000 in Colorado. But here's the funny thing. You sell the house in Texas for $500,000. You take a mortgage for $200,000, right? You guys with me so far? The property taxes in Texas was like $14,000. The property taxes in Colorado was like, I think they said $3,500. So we save roughly $11,000 a year in property tax from living in Colorado than in Texas. All right. And on top of that, we take a mortgage for $200,000. Every $100,000 of mortgage is about $500 a month. You see where this is going? So it's like, dude, they want to be in Colorado. That's where their family is. So, dude, you go to Colorado, there's a net for you. It's a net. You're netting out. You're not behind at all. I mean, a couple $100, but not much, because the savings in property taxes in Texas will be what you use to finance that $200,000 for the property in Colorado. And you'll be close to your family. Now, I didn't do any comparison of sales tax. I imagine Colorado is probably cheaper in sales tax than in Texas. They're going to be retired, so there's not going to be that much income anyway. So there's not a whole lot of income tax they're going to have to pay. I tell you, man, the property tax is the issue. The property tax is the issue. Now, apparently in Colorado, I guess I did this video. I don't recall saying this, but I mean, I'm sure it's there. It's been so long that I guess you got to be 10 years resident of Colorado before you get some kind of property tax exemption. I don't know what it is, but I'm like, dude, if I can live where I want to live and I'm netting out the same as living here, after everything's included, I'm going to live what I want to live. It's just all there is to it. So very interesting. Property taxes are bad. Yeah, I don't know, Patty. I imagine that, I know I've worked with a number of clients who deal with Section 8 housing. It's a wonderful cash flow stream. No other way around that. We pay for it. It's a wonderful cash flow stream. I don't know if that is or not. I just don't know. But that's a good question. 4 more days to 1 year retire, man. Loving every minute of it. Loving every minute of it. I must have missed something. My man Rob W. from Manchester or from Worcester, and a new Rob W. We also have 2 CBs on here. I haven't seen CBs here lately. So my man CB in Michigan he's loyal. My man CB in California, he seemed to go off the reservation a little bit lately. Not sure what that's about, but not sure. But he's in California. My man CB in Michigan, but CB in California seems to be not digging my mama's cooking, if that makes sense. Hello. Hey, I got Facebook. Hello, Michael. Right. Harry knows the feelings, right, Harry? Right on. Wrench Rob has outright. Right, got it, Wrench Rob. Wrench Rob is going to ban the other Rob, the imposter. There we go. Mark W. retired in June. Loving life. Right on. No, don't thank me. Thank yourself. Wish my company's pension had a COLA. I'd go with a COLA and live a long time just to piss off my company. Right on. Oh, man. Moderator cage match. All right, here we go. Faith Dimmer. I just want to ask you, as someone looking to retire to the South, why are the Carolinas and Georgia becoming so expensive? So they're called halfbacks. All right. So people initially they moved to Florida, because Florida's a mecca for retirees from New York and New Jersey and PA. And now Florida, a little bit more expensive, hurricanes and stuff. So now they're coming back halfway back to the north, if that makes sense. North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina. Trust me, though, if you think you're going to avoid hurricanes in South Carolina, you're nuts, man. I'm just telling you right now. So that's why. I mean, it's just the South is awesome. I mean, look, I'm telling you right now, the humidity is. Let me close this again. Hold on. Washington Generals. It was tied with a minute left. And then the Harlem Globetrotters got 2 straight 4-point shots because when we play Harlem Globetrotter basketball, there's actually not just a 2-point, 3-point, there's a 4-point shot. And the Washington Generals never got the ball back. I've mortgaged my house and the Generals, winning for the 8th time out of like 13,000 games, but did not happen. So instead, I got myself a Washington Generals t-shirt, just FYI. Anyway, it's just because the South is awesome and the people are awesome. It's everything. The climate's better than the North in terms of longer growing seasons. It's freedom more down here. It's everything is right about the South. I mean, it's freer. You don't have as many. See, in the North, in the urban enclaves of the North, and trust me, there's some of this in Charlotte, Atlanta. Hell, look at Northern Virginia. I mean, you can't look Nashville. You got these uppity wokesters that kind of dominate the state politics. And as in a chat room or whatever it's called on freaking City Data, and I said, man, I was just so proud of it because all the Mainers were griping about. Some people were saying until Mainers bring back masks, I don't want to move there. They're like, sweet, stay the hell away. But outside the urban enclaves of Portland and then the hoity-toities along the coast, Mainers are freaking like Southern rednecks, man. They're just Yankee rednecks. It's fantastic. It's my kind of people. But the problem is they're just not that many relative to the urban population. The urban population dominates state's politics. Same thing is going to happen down here. I mean, you can see this a mile away. Nashville is freaking blue as can be. Atlanta, right, as blue as can be. And someone said that 75 to 80% of all voters in the state of Georgia are the Atlanta metropolitan area. You know what I'm saying? So you can be from Macon, Georgia. It doesn't matter. If you can't win, basically the counties in the Atlanta suburbs, you're screwed. And that's not good. That's bad. But at the end of the day, it's really your county that matters. So the issue is you have these hoity-toity, good time rock and roll rich people up in Boston, New York, Philadelphia. It just clowns. But a lot of these people have lost all their faith. And so what happens is, this is their one life and they got one life to live and they're going to live it come hell or high water. And they want you to follow how they live. And they're going to mandate, that you obey because they're fearful of what comes next. A lot of us in the South and a lot of Christians and Muslims and stuff like that aren't worried about this life. The afterlife is what they're worried about. And as such, we're like, look, man, masking up and all that stuff, that might be great for you, but it's just not for me. I'm not all that worried about it. I'm just not because I believe in the afterlife. And as such, I'm just not. Look, so I'm not going to sacrifice my freedom regardless of what your science says just to make you feel better and to virtue signal. Not going to do it. But you get in these urban areas, and that's where the politics are won and lost. And unfortunately, that's where a lot of the hoity-toity, good time rock and roll rich people live who dominate the legislature, unfortunately. And so it hasn't happened yet in the South, but certainly happened in Maine, certainly happened in kind of New Hampshire, definitely not Massachusetts is gone, but you know what I'm saying? And you can't really escape it. And it's coming more and more down here in the South. But as we sit here today, it's the only place that's free in the whole world. The Southern United States is the only free place in the entire world, my friends. I know it's easy to say, man, America's going south, metaphorically, but This is it. You get down here, there's no place left to turn. There's none. Where you go, New Zealand? And my daughter's in France right now, and apparently a lot of people are not wearing masks. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I know there's mass protests going on all over the world against this crap. But at the end of the day, they'll have a temper tantrum, and then Boris Johnson and Macron and the two clowns in Australia and New Zealand they'll be right back to their freaking fascist ways. You know what I'm saying? And, it's just, in America, it's not like that. America is, because of federalism and states' rights, you can choose your county, and your county is what's so important. And then here, this is it. This is it, man. Now, you go up to Maine, you go to some of those outer counties, no one's going to bother you for a stupid mask. But at the end of the day, you still got to listen to what the governor says. Now, will the sheriff in Aroostook County come freaking arrest you for not wearing a mask like they do in Ireland? No, it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. So there's lots of places you can escape the woke mobs all over the United States. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, Missouri is a wonderful state for that. Arkansas, all these states, you know what I'm saying? Southern. But so there's a lot of places you can go. It's just at the end of the day, the climate here, the people are friendly. It's the home of the Bible Belt. Just lots going for the South. I love it. It's just too damn humid for me in the summer. I tell you, I can't. I'm from Maine, man. I'm a Northern European mutt by ethnicity, and we just don't like the humidity. Oh boy, it eats me alive. Ooh, speaking of which, Eat Me Alive. You know who sang that song? Was the band who did Eat Me Alive. All right. I don't pay my tithes explicitly to the church anymore, Ahmad. Let's just put it this way. I don't want to go too much deeper into that. I don't pay my tithes explicitly to the church. I just don't. My church and I don't. I think the leadership of the Catholic Church is leading us down a dark, dark place, and I don't want anything to do with it. That's all there's to it. Bishop Gregory, who's now the DC, I think, Archbishop, the guy's a clown, all the way up the stream to what's his name, freaking Pope Francis. These liberation theology Marxists, which dominated Catholicism. On top of that, letting all the pedos, just the whole thing it's just bad. It's just bad. And this is why the whole thing, like, as if the church, the Pope is sanctified. It's nuts, man. Like, as if the Pope is, I'm like, dude, it's just a guy who better politicking than the other guys. That's it. I mean, what? I don't know. I'm sorry. I know a lot of Catholics right now are offended by me saying this. I don't like our Pope, and I don't like the direction of the church for many, many years. And frankly, I'm Catholic, but I certainly have lots of qualms about donating a tithe explicitly to the church itself. So do I do other things? 100%, without question, because to whom much is given, much is much is expected. And we're just stewards of God's money. God doesn't need our money. He just needs to see if we're going to be good fiduciaries for him. And doggone, I'm going to do my best to be that. But I don't, if the tithing means, do I give it to the church? No, I don't. I mean, not to the church. So they can settle all their lawsuits. They can push Marxist liberation theory or green agendas and all that crap. All that stuff's freaking, it's evil, man. Evil. And I don't want anything to do with it. So, hey, Mary's on Facebook. Right on, Mary. Right on. The dual income doesn't come from thin air. It comes from everyone else. It's a wealth transfer. I don't get it. I've seen IG reels with parents with 5+ kids. Equals awesome. I'm not sure what that means. Hey, Michael. Hey, how many people got on Facebook right now? Only 2. Okay. It takes a great patient and restraint not to drop the hammer on some commenters. Yeah, I agree. I must have missed a bunch of stuff, so my apologies if I missed that, man. Looking for a positive investment without being in the market. There's a movement in China called man lying flat, opting out of working, getting married, raising. CCP is aware and concerned, spreading like crazy. Yeah? what do they call it? The little emperors, right? Little emperors. All right, right here. Here's Denise. All right. All right. Her PIA is $1,437 a month. Spouse is okay. Oh, it's for a pension. Primary only, $1,437 a month. 50% survivor benefit, $1,138 a month. 100% survivor benefit, $942 a month. All right. The last survivor is 11 years. Okay, so it looks like the husband is 11 years older than the spouse. I'm confused. All right, but if I'm 11 years older than Charlotte and I have a choice to take $1,437 a month or take $942 a month to make sure she gets everything, I'm taking $942 a month. I mean, this $500 a month difference, I grant you, but look, man, it's just my conservative nature. I'm not leaving her with nothing. I'm sorry. If I'm 11 years older than her and I'm a man, I mean, she's gone in 60 seconds. I'm gone in 60 seconds relative to her life expectancy. So I doggone want to make sure she gets something. You could argue leaving us 50% survivor benefit, but what's mine is hers and what's hers is mine. So I just default for the 100% survivor benefit. That's what I do. Doesn't mean it's the right thing, but that's what I would do. Retirement is 3 months away, says Gary. What do I think about replacing your mortgage or the first lien HELOC? I don't have any problem with it. It's just, are we going to replace your first mortgage totally? You know what I'm saying? So, like, I have a pretty sizable untapped and home equity line of credit, but it's not big enough to replace my first mortgage. But yeah, I mean, if you let's say a $200,000 on a mortgage and you got a $200,000 line, remember though, once you're using a revolving line of credit, which is a HELOC, and you have 100% loan to value, not that it really matters all that much, but it could for you. Your credit score drops like a brick, man, because 100% revolving line of credit that's being maxed out looks horrible to the credit rating agency. So just be careful there. I'm telling you, man, one of the things you want to avoid is your credit cards having more than 50% debt to line, if that makes sense. So if you have a $10,000 line, you don't want more than $5,000 on the credit card because it does hurt your credit score. So if you have a $200,000 HELOC and you got $200,000 outstanding against it, that's 100% loan to value or loan to line, I guess, line amount, and you're maxed out. And that as a revolving line of credit, that's tough. Just be careful, man. Why not Wellington or Wellesley only buy rental if you can pay cash for the property? I don't know about that so much, Kim. I mean, I think you don't want debt for a car, and you want, I don't even call them taking debt if it's going to be paid for by somebody else, if that makes sense. I was talking to these guys in Phoenix, and they got 2 rentals, and they're both like, we want to sell them. And I said, why? And they said, well, they're not really netting us much cash flow, and I think it's like $200 or $300 each. I said, that's still $500 a month, man. It's not chump change, and it's paying the mortgage. And once the mortgages are paid off, it'll be like $1,250 a month total. I mean, not a huge amount, but they're not living on huge money anyway. I said, so why pay off the mortgage? Why not just let your tenants pay off the mortgage? Let your property, they got property managers, and this is all net. I said, I don't know. That seems like a pretty good deal to me. They're paying $500, they're getting $700, so it's netting $200. Once the debts are paid off, they'll net $700 a month. That doesn't seem like a bad deal. Now, should you go heavy in debt? No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying at the end of the day, borrowing in which to buy an asset, like a vacation, I'm going to, whatever, friggin' Antigua. So I'm going to borrow $15,000, which I'll pay back over 5 years. Not good. I want to buy a new fancy schmancy car. Not good. I'm going to loan. I'm not that sure it's the worst thing ever happened. Let's put it that way. Best option if only trying to max. If the best option is only try to max your dollars received, is always going to be single life. Always. If you're trying to max the dollars you receive as single life, the problem, of course, is that single life could be ending just like that, and then there's nothing left. But if we're trying to maximize the amount of money we get, especially on the short end, there's not even debatable. Right? Wet willing. I have a private sector union that will allow me to take the full amount with no penalty at age 53. How should I be investing beyond my pension? Whoa. Pension will be about $7,000 a month. I don't know, man. I don't know what. I don't know you. I don't know what kind of income you need. That's the remember, folks. I mean, how can anyone tell you how to invest if they don't know what your expenses are? Rob says my house has gone up like 30% in 2 to 3 years. Seems like a bubble to me. Well, I mean, that's it might well be specifically for you, but I would not say a 20 to 30% increase in real estate is a bubble. Especially when we had what's the real estate in stocks? Is that a bubble? I don't think it is. I don't know. Is it priced high relatively to historic terms, but is it a bubble? I don't think so. Now, do I think a crash is inevitable? Sure. Market goes up, down, up, down. But there's no pattern to this, guys. No pattern. It just is completely random. But if you look historically, roughly every 4.5 years, the market takes a 25% decline. Up, down, up, down. It doesn't work like that. It just goes up, down, but now, I mean, it's all over. Like I said, it's like an electron. You know what I'm saying? It's like bouncing all around the nucleus. The issue is that with the real estate being up 20 to 30%, inherently that makes sense when you think about the interest rates and all that, and the Fed pumping the liquidity into the market. All that stuff makes sense. I get it. I'm not sitting here saying the Fed has nothing to do with it. They absolutely do. The interest rates are down. It means the prices of house goes up. That right there in of itself isn't that big of a deal, which is what amazed. Let me just go back to this. I'm telling you, this is amazing to me. Share screen. So I just want to go back to this Fred. All right, so we're going to go to all. Well, I got, okay, cool. Oops, all right here. All right, so we're going to go back to all home prices. And then what we're going to do, all right, so we're going to go here. Then we're going to look at my man Daniel Kluber's bucket strategy. All right, and we're going to go to, yeah, perfect. And we're going to go to 10-year treasury. Let's just go to 10-year. So here are the interest rates. These aren't mortgage rates, I grant you, but I mean, look, from 1975, the 10-year treasury is at 7.5%. 1975, 72.16. All right. So then what happened to the 10-year treasury? From 1975 to 1980, the 10-year treasury went from 7.5 to 10.8%. That's a 30% increase in interest rates. Would everybody agree with that? Yes, you will. We'll all nod our heads. So a 30% increase in interest rates from 1975, and yet in the state of Georgia, it's going to be the same everywhere. The prices of homes went from 74 to 100. That's a 25% increase in home prices over those 5 years when interest rates are going 30% higher. All right, then interest rates went down. Right here, they started going down. So from 1980 to the end of 1982, we have another 16% increase in home values from 1980 to 1982. Interest rates went from 10.8 to 14, another 40%. So interest rates are going up, home values are going up. So you can't say it's because the interest rates are down. You can't. And then you can say from 1975 down to 1990, interest rates are still above where they were. The interest rates are still higher in 1990 than they were in 1975. But yet, if we look at the prices, 1990, the houses were 160. In 1972, they're at 72. So we take our trusty calculator. We go 160 minus 72 equals 88 divided by 72. The houses were up 122% from 1975 to 1990. And yet the interest rates were going up and they were going down. So you can't sit there and say, well, the Fed is flooding the market with low interest rates, making prices more affordable. Okay, then how do you argue this? I don't know. It's nuts. And I just want to go back to edit graph because I want to show you the log. I just don't think people grasp this. I know I did for a long, long time. But you go to the log and we're going to see this. I mean, this is right here is the bubble. If we have one from 1980, that's the bubble right there. And then a pretty significant decline. This is right here. I wish I had right there is when we bought our house, actually, right here. We bought ours right there, which we got lucky. But I mean, this isn't a bubble. This right here is a bubble with interest rates going up. And now interest rates are collapsing and the price goes up a little bit. It's not a bubble. It's not. Unless there's always a bubble, if that makes sense. I just find that, I find that fascinating. I really, really do. And if we go to my man Rob's in Massachusetts, Massachusetts, which is a beautiful state, by the way. Follow my man Turtle Boy in Massachusetts. And we'll see where Worcester, right there. We're Holy Cross University, where my sister went. All right, so let's go to Worcester. And that's not, okay, so this is not log. We'll make it log in just a second. Up, flat, up, down, up. But I mean, if you just look at the line here, it's kind of going like that. Probably like right up in here. I mean, so anyway, long story short, Q4 of 2012, 188 was the price. And now at Q1, 271. So we went from 188 to 271. So we take our trusty calculator, and that's at Q1 2021. 271 minus 188 divided by 188. It's up 44% in these last, what's that, 8 years. All right. So, look at that. That looks pretty big, right? Oh, my goodness. It went from 187 to 271. That's 100 points. You go from here at 36 to here to, that's 100. That's not even 100 points. So you go here. It's at 36, and here at 88 is 116. That's less points here than here. But if we go to the log scale as a percentage, and that's all that matters is the percentage, not the actual points, is the percentage. And we got to keep going like that. Then you'll notice, look at that. That is a bubble. And that's why it leveled off for so long. I mean, look at that. In Worcester, you could buy a house at 120 in 1988 and buy a house at 120 in 1999. Had no movement for those 10 years. You could buy a house in Worcester for freaking 240 in 2006, and you could buy a house in Worcester for whatever that was, 260 something. I'm sorry, there's not a bubble there. The interest rates going down, yeah, that certainly helped. But how do you explain this? Yeah, I find it fascinating. And I'm telling you, it's not like I came in here. I've been thinking this got to be a crash. Save my money, because when the markets fall, I'll be able to buy something. But I don't think that's happening. I think we are now in a, I don't know. The real estate prices fall, sure. Will there be a crash? I don't see it happening, man. I don't. So anyway, the point being, if you're trying to get out of Babylon, get the hell out of there now, because, obviously, make sure your stuff is good to go, because I'm not sure it's going to be any cheaper in the future is where I'm going with this. All right. Yeah, right. At 100% there. Black man, 614. Millennials are starting to buy homes, hence the run up in shortage. I completely agree with that. And I'm white man, 77. I agree with black man, 614. White man, 77. I'm white man, 514. That's where I used to live in Silver Spring, Maryland. Thayer Ave, 514 Thayer Ave. All right. West Virginia Monty says, what's more important, holding cash or using that cash to pay tax or Roth conversions if most in tax conversions? Yeah, I tell you, man, obviously, look, I don't know what my man Monty, West Virginia situation here is. I tell people all the time, you call Vanguard or you go on Schwab, you close the door again. You say, I want $100,000 moved from my IRA to my Roth. They're going to say, do you want that gross or do you want that net? Now I'll say, I want it gross. Send, say send 15% to Uncle Sam, send 5% to Brian Kemp here in Georgia, and put 80,000 in my Roth. Because remember, my friends, the point about Roth conversions isn't that we want to end up with huge Roth conversions. That's fantastic. The main point about Roth conversions is to avoid the widow's tax trap. And the widow's tax trap is there's too much money in deferred accounts. I'm telling you. So what's the best way to get rid of deferred accounts? Is to pull the money out of deferred accounts. That's the best way to get rid of deferred accounts, which means pay the tax from the deferred accounts. Yes, you're still going to end up with 80% of that $100,000 in your Roth. That's a wonderful thing. 20% is going to taxes. That's fine. The point is to reduce the deferred accounts, not to have it all in the Roth. Now, again, that's a great benefit if we can get it like that. But I tell you, man, don't be so afraid of paying the taxes with your IRA distributions. I get it. Everybody and their mom are going to scream bloody murder. That's not efficient. That's not modern portfolio theory. That's not the efficient market hypothesis. Blah, blah, blah. I don't give two craps. I don't care what your stupid models say. I say, what are we trying to do? We are trying to do Roth conversions. Why? Why are we trying to do Roth conversions? We want to make sure my surviving spouse doesn't get killed with a widow's tax trap. We want to make sure we're going to pay more Medicare premiums later on down the road. Now, if the primary reason to do Roth conversions is to leave as much as you possibly can tax-free to your little crumb crunchers, this is different. Then you don't want to pay taxes necessarily with your IRA money because that would reduce the amount that they get. I don't talk to all that many people whose primary reason for hiring me is to leave everything they got tax-free to the crumb crunchers. Now, that might be the case. That's fine. I'm not criticizing people. I'd even say, well, there's better ways to do it than anyways. Just buy us a second-die life insurance. But at the end of the day, remember, the point isn't we have the money here, we want it over there. The point is we have the money here, we don't want it here anymore. So when I die and Charlotte's a widow and she's partying like it's 1999 with a pool boy, I want to make sure she doesn't get smoked from the IRS because she's no longer married filing jointly. Now she's a single taxpayer and she's going to get killed when it comes to Medicare premiums. We want to make sure that that deferred account is reduced as much as we possibly can. Jake's in Western Mass. Houses in my neck of the woods are selling in a week or so for much higher than asking. You know, it's interesting too. I was going to ask too. I'd say too. My next door neighbors here just moved in, and they bought a house I couldn't afford. Could I afford it? Sure, but you know that house they bought next to, they're nice, but they're young. I think they got 7 and 4 year old kids, so they're probably millennials, upper millennials. So they sold it. The folks who used to live there were boomers. They sold it to millennials moving in, and they sold it for a price I couldn't afford. Could I literally afford it? Sure, on paper, I would not want to. And I think that's what's happening. There's enough millennials who are making money that are going to be buying up decent houses more every year. I believe this 100% now. Now, look, I am willing to have someone throw freaking cold water on my face to say, you're wrong, it's a bubble, Biden, Kamala. Where is Kamala? I haven't heard her for a while. They getting ready to send her packing. They're going to put Elizabeth Warren up there. Speaking of which, does anyone know if our president is going to make us wear an N95 mask? I can pick up a lot and borrow them in California. Right on. That's perfect. Ooh, yeah. Have Sniffy Joe Band-Aid masks and bring them over to California and say, mask for sale. And they'll arrest you for hoarding. And you're not paying attention to the science, Kim. You're not paying attention to the science. A rise in mortgage rates would put the kibosh on housing prices. I don't know. We just proved it didn't happen before. It doesn't mean it can't. I always want to be clear. Just because something didn't happen or did happen doesn't mean it can't or will. We don't Yeah, well, that's because because the dealers are list cost pricing because this is scarcity of the semiconductors, right? That's my understanding. Yeah, see, I don't buy this. All the high-rise city folks want out. No, I'm telling you, people have been saying that for a whole year. Like Mary, who's a realtor in a hoity-toity good time rock and roll part of Connecticut, and I love Mary, so I'm just goofing on her if she's still here. But anyway, the idea is that all these people from New York are moving in. And this is not what Mary said. This is what other people say. Say, okay, but who's buying their houses? There's got to be a second part of the trade. So someone sells their house in freaking crap Hatton, to move out to Westport, I think is what's called, where Mary lives. But someone's still got to sell this house, buy this house for them to get it so they can move. You see what I'm saying? There's two parts to both trades. So this whole idea that people are moving, abandoning the cities, moving out, like, well, who's buying their properties? BlackRock? I don't buy it. Yeah, now that's interesting. Huh. I didn't think about this. As the boomers age out and the busters age in, 55 communities become more of a bargain. That's a good one, brother man. That is a good observation. So how do we profit from that? That's inevitable, it seemed to me. How do you profit from seeing the demographic shift, knowing full well that those houses in 55 plus communities are overvalued relative to the changing demographics? Let's think about this. By the way, if you want your question answered quickly, super chat me, pay money. That beautiful, beautiful money. Remember, it's not money is not the root of all evil. It's the love of money that's the root of all evil. Anyway, so let's chomp on this. We'll come back to these comments here in just a second. Chomp on this a little bit. No, the oldest boomers are not 56, man. Oh, that's not true. The oldest boomers are, what are you saying about that? No, that's not right. Here in over 55 village, you're in Vinyl's in an over 55 village in Connecticut? Anyway, so I don't know, Westport. Yeah, right there, Westport. That's where 2-bedroom. Yeah, youngest boomers, exactly. So, yeah, lack of money. Yeah, right on. Good point. Well, I don't know. How would you profit off that? Somebody, yeah, youngest boomers were born in '64, exactly. Yeah, I think it must be a typo from Fat Finger by Vinyl. Long-term care and okay, well, I'll talk about that. Hey, there's CB. I already talked about you, man. What the hell? Already said your counterpart in California. We're not hearing much from him lately. I think he might be offended by something I said. Yeah, I don't know this. Look, I don't know. I know there's some instances of this. I actually kind of take the same thing with the BlackRock stuff. That BlackRock's buying everybody up. I don't buy it. And remember, the way to get BlackRock not to buy everything up is not to sell it to them. I don't buy that for 2 seconds. I can't remember, what is the total real estate value in America right now? BlackRock and their evil ways don't even have enough to cover all that. I'm just not that worried about that. Now, I think there's some areas, Vancouver, Canada, where the Chinese bought up and they priced everybody. I do think there's some areas like that. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that in mass that's happening. I just don't. And Chinese fake corporations buying up some farmland, probably. In of itself, that I don't know. I'm just not all that concerned by that. I'm just not. I'm a lot more concerned about the West than the CPC. Remember, it's no longer the CCP. It's the CPC, the Communist Party of China, not the Chinese Communist Party. Notice where the communist goes first because it's truly an international Bolshevik movement. Has nothing to do with ethnic pride. It has all to do with Bolshevik Marxism, commies. Now, I know the commie Russians and the commies Chinese hated each other, I grant you. but it's the CPC, the Communist Party of China. Very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, actually, it's funny. Doug says this too. Kim, I'll probably get a shingle shot, Frank. I'm not all that, but I was just taken aback. All right, well, the cat's out of bag. The lady said African Americans had 100% success rate. And the same lady saying that is the same lady telling me I should get all these shots. It's like, I can't fathom that a professional is saying this to me. I can't fathom this, that what that person said. And I said, there's no way in hell I'm listening to anything from this. It was nuts. The idea that Africans Americans have 100% success rate for the prick. I was stunned. And after that, it was just like my mind closes. So I'll get my shingles and I'll get my tetanus shot. I'm not anti-vax or anti-shots. Certainly not anti-needles. Hell, I'd watch them. Hell, I was in combat lifesaver training when I was in the Army. I'll never forget. I had to freaking draw blood from a guy from Nebraska named Opitz. He's like 6'4". Freaking Opitz was a prick, but he was not a bad guy. But he was what's the word? I'm very up and down, and I had to draw blood from Opitz. And I'm freaking back. I was 5'9", 150 pounds. Opitz is 6'4", probably 220. He's a wild man. He's like a volatile guy, and he's sitting there. I'm like, dude, Anyways, pulled the thing out. Not a pleasant experience, but it's not that I'm afraid of needles. It's just I don't trust the friggin' prick docs to save my life. Anyway, so Doug says Japan was purchased. It's funny too, because don't forget all the stuff that's happening in China. Do you really think they're in control of that country with all the freaking dams breaking and all this stuff? There's a lot of crap happening over there that we're just not even privy to. And I don't think it's, man, I'm telling you, man, it's like the Iraqi revolution or the elite Iraqi forces, remember from the 1990s and stuff. I just don't think it's as big as what the threat that frankly, I'm not worried about the Chinese. We're going to speak Mandarin. I'm not. I'm worried about the West being taken. The West is gone, in my opinion, and they're going to be doing a lot of bad stuff before the CPC ever sets foot here. I truly believe that. Now, that doesn't mean we can't have a 1 second after, the thing where it pops up over the head and, you know what I'm talking about, where it goes an EMP. I'm not saying we can't have an EMP or something like that. But I'm a lot more worried about our own government, frankly, than I am about the CPC. You hear about what they're doing, the FBI did with the Whitmer stuff. And it actually pisses me off because I remember I started getting privy to this after they allowed the FBI actually not only allowed these Muslim terrorists to kill all these people, they actually encouraged them. And so you have these people who were just kind of down on their luck. And, they're just spouting off, as a lot of people do, who are down on their luck. And the FBI gathered these people up. It's freaking evil, man. And I'm just telling you, I'm a whole lot worried about our own people, government, than I am about the CPC. Just read about some of these Muslims that were literally entrapped and literally pushed to the brim to shoot up people. It's insane. Once you read this, you can never not read it. You'll be like, this is our own government going after people who are just having a bad day, essentially, and making them do things that are taking the lives of innocent people. Also, they can have an enemy. And so we don't see any Muslim terrorists that much lately. So now we got to worry about the white supremacist terrorists because there's white supremacists under every bridge, under every bed. It's nuts. It's always got to have this enemy. It's freaking Oceania versus whatever, the East Asia. It's the whole same old thing. It's crazy. It's always got to be some guy over here that's bad, and we're here to protect you because fear is how they govern. It's nuts. I tell you, man, it put me a whole lot different. Like I always knew Ruby Ridge. I've always been libertarian and not a big government type. But the Ruby Ridge thing really pissed me off. Then Waco too. I was like, what the hell? You know what I'm saying? But then I thought, with my guys in charge, George Bush and the Republicans, they'll get these guys under control. The FBI will get under control. They're good. Once our guys are in charge. It turns out I was wrong. There's no control on these people. None. CIA, FBI, DO. It's none. There's no control on them. Look, the average agent, freaking awesome. Awesome. There's something in these organizations that's not awesome. And I think everybody knows it. And I don't even think it's like left versus right. I don't even think it's that so much. I think it's a lot even deeper than that. It's ugly, man. And so to sit here and, say Japan was purchasing all our stuff, in the 80s, and then everyone was protesting about Japanese cars and all that. And then it just, same thing they're saying. Don't forget, Paul Samuelson, who literally wrote the textbook on economics, was saying the Communist Party was going to Russia. He said this in like 1989 was going to dominate America in economic growth in the next decade. He literally said that as the Russians were imploding. It's nuts. None of these freaking economists know what the hell they're talking about. And anyway, so they thought that same about Russia. They thought the same about Japan. Both those things were crazy. They're thinking the same thing about China. Can't say it won't happen. I'm just not worried about China in the least. I'm certainly more worried about Boris Johnson, about Biden, but not Biden per se, not Boris Johnson per se, but who is telling these people what to do. And I think if you're not worried about it, there's something wrong with you, man. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know how you can look at what's happened and say it's a ref for his life right thing anymore. Not. Boris comes out from the right. Hell no, he's not from the right. Biden, look, Biden's not there. I get it. But whoever's running Biden, he's from the left. No, he's not from the left either. These are fascist dudes. Fascist. The World Economic Forum. Fascist like crazy. Complete fascism. Has nothing to do with left or right. It's the international Bolsheviks, man. I'm just telling you. Oh, they're going to throw themselves in Marxist, in terms of terminology, because Marxism, for some reason, has sold better than fascism has. But it's the same stuff, dudes. Crazy. Yeah, you got it, Ahmad. Ahmad says, thanks for suggesting that book. Yeah, dude, right on. Ahmad, look at that. Perfect, right on. I've read it, and it changed my perspective about inflation. It's crazy. Me too, Ahmad. And I'm telling you, if you would have asked me many moons ago, I would have said inflation from the monetary school of Milton Friedman. Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon. Inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. I agree with all that. We always look at it from the context of too much money. We never look at it from the actual context of too few goods, the scarcity which is created by socialism. I'm just telling you right now, too few goods is what causes inflation, scarcity, as we're seeing in the price of cars because it's scarce on semiconductors. Can you attribute that to socialism? No, you can certainly attribute that to supply chain because of huge government regulation, but be that as it may. Scarcity is what causes inflation. It's not too much money. We just got to nip this in the bud. That does not mean we can print like drunken sailors till the freaking cows come home. Ultimately, you can't just keep printing. But at the end of the day, the idea that too much money inherently is inflationary, I say, well, what was too much money? We've been running deficits like since 1967. We had like 3 years of a balanced budget under Clinton and the Republican Congress. That's it. We've been running deficits for as long as we're never going to pay the debt. It'll never be paid off. And yet we have no inflation, none. So, we've had inflation this last year. Oh my goodness, as if anyone should be shocked by that. It just isn't there. So I don't understand this. So when was too much money printed? Was it not printed in 2008, 9? Because everyone back then, I was in that saying there's no way. I was at USA. We had a 10-year fixed annuity guaranteed at 6%. I was like, no way. Inflation's going to eat that alive. Man, people would kill for a guaranteed 10-year fixed annuity at 6%. Now, it turns out to be that wasn't a great investment relative to the markets, but no one knew the market was going to do like it did. Crazy. Yeah, Facebook. Dog days of summer, man. Florida, right on. Looking tan, well rested in your pink shirt there, John. Looking good. I left my wife 100% of my pension. Cost me close to $600 per month. Yeah, I don't know if there's any right or wrong answer here. I mean, that's the risk, man. You're saying that's $7,200 a year. Could you have done better? Let's say you, I don't know, Jake, you survive because I think you're 65. We'll say you survive until you're 80. All right, and so that you have 15 years at $7,200 a year is what you would have made without even getting any investment return. 7,200 times 15, you would have left your wife with an extra $108,000. versus a pension of whatever the pension is per month. You see what I'm saying? So let's just say it's a $3,000 a month pension. If you would have taken no survivor benefit, that $600 a month would give her $108,000. But if it's a $3,000 a month pension, if she survives you by more than 3 years, she's SOL. Now, it's a tough one. There's no right or wrong answer here, man, because $108,000 divided by $36,000 a year, that's basically 3 years right there, man. And so after the 4th year of your wife surviving you, there is no pension and no money left over. She's a goose egg there. That's not good. That's if you survive for 15 years. And with all the hot air I'm spewing, the carbon dioxide might eat you alive. You might be dead before that. So it's a tough one. It's a tough one. I just know for me, I'm not. And if people say, what if you get an investment rate of return? Man, I get all that. 100%. That's always the what if. Frankly, as I sit there, I look at my better half, and I say, what if I don't? For me, I'm not taking that chance. I'm leaving her the money, the pension. Because what if you don't? Japan. I just always revert back to Japan. What if you were in Japan? My thoughts on investing in index funds are pretty much that's all you should invest in predominantly. Now, Wellington's not an index fund. Wellesley is not an index fund. VDIGX is the Vanguard Dividend Growth Fund. That's not an index fund. I don't invest in Wellington and Wellesley, but I do invest in VDIGX, and I have some individual stocks, but everything else is all index funds. So that should be the bulk of your portfolio, index funds for sure. Facebook is for old people. It's crazy, man. It's nuts, which is probably why I should be on there, because of Facebook. There's old people who are looking about retirement planning. I'm telling you, I need to be on Facebook just to promote myself, but I just can't do it. I did a couple Facebook ads when I first started this. Actually, Facebook, and I don't know if the ads are still as good as they were, but dude, I'm telling you right now, if you're running a business that has any kind of old person, 50-year-old or up, I hate to say this, but Facebook Marketplace and Facebook ads are phenomenal. There's no other way around it. It is nuts. You think about a Super Bowl ad. A Super Bowl ad, you're getting 60 million people to watch it. Very few of those people give two craps about your stupid product. So you're mass marketing, but very few people care. With Facebook, it's the exact opposite. You're minuscule marketing to the people who care. It's nuts. It's phenomenal. For a business to market on Facebook I tell you, it's fun too. It's a marketing genius because you can do all kinds of different things. I haven't done it. I haven't been on Facebook other than post videos on occasion for 2 years. In July of 2019, I stopped. I didn't like knowing these things about people, and I frankly didn't like what it was making. It wasn't making me do anything, but I didn't like myself either. It's like this. I'm getting pissed off all the time. I don't want to get pissed off. But as a marketing, you can't beat it. Google is okay. I haven't done a Google ad in about 2 years either. I used to do some YouTube ads. I put a little bit of time into them. Those are fun. And you can make some headway. I'm telling you, if you got a product to sell and you're not learning Google AdSense and Google advertising or Facebook advertising, I don't know the first thing about Pinterest or Insta. I don't know any of that. And I'll never get on Twitter. Don't advertise on Twitter. You're not, if you're on the right, no one on the right is going to be on Twitter. Don't do that. So you're just wasting money. You're giving money to the demon. Facebook isn't, look, I'm telling you, at the end of the day, Facebook isn't Twitter. It's just not. There's a lot more righties on Facebook than anyone would want to acknowledge. And I think they actually did a study on that. It says, Facebook is essentially dominated by righties, which is good. So, literally Facebook is right up my alley for my business, soon to be and recently retirees who've got some money saved. It's like the perfect audience for me. But I just know I do not want to get involved in politics on Facebook. I just don't. And that's the thing. So for me, it's better to leave it alone. When Parler was starting to roll, I was getting ready to start advertising on Parler until then the Amazon shut them off. And that's dude, freaking, it's wrong, but they did it and they got away with it. and there's no other way around that. And then I've advertised a little bit on Amazon. Amazon's okay. It was okay. The problem with Amazon, the nice thing about Amazon is you're advertising to book buyers. If you're running a book ad, I mean, for me, it's just books, which is nice. So it's people who are browsing books. And I tell you, man, sales 101, you got to get copyright is so critical. I can't tell you how many emails people send me soliciting my business, Heritage Wealth Planning. It's just the worst. It's not just people in India or Bangladesh. It's even Americans. Like, I don't care what your pedigree is or who you work with. I could give two craps for it. I care what you can do for me. That's all there is to it. What's in it for me? Whether it's with them. What's in it for me? With them. Always remember that. Sales 101, I don't give two craps that you work, that you freaking follow some clown that it's the weird, it's bad. Bad, I tell you. Basic copywriting. What's that book? Oh my goodness. The Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dude, just read his. I tell you, let's do this real quick. I love this stuff, man. This is interesting. It's almost like the data stuff on the Fred we're just looking at, the research stuff on looking at the Fred data. Let's look at Napoleon Hill. I love doing this kind of stuff too, because the way you phrase a word or a sentence is so amazing. And I'm telling you, so if you guys are going to do some kind of side hustle, man, you got to learn how to sell. It doesn't mean selling like a freaking used car salesman. All right, let's see if we can't see inside here. How to Win Friends. Was it Think and Grow Rich? I don't think it was that. Wasn't it? It was, right. By the way, Outwitting the Devil. I haven't read this. I got it on my Kindle right here. Apparently, this is his. Get this. If you like Napoleon Hill, get this. I've heard a lot of good things about this. A good polemic for Christianity. I don't think it was Win Friends. Who did Win Friends and Influence People? Was it this one? Let's see. I don't think it was this. Let's just take a look. All right. Can we see inside? Yeah, look inside. I don't think it was this. I just want to see the chapters. Can you all see that? Yeah. I'm not going to be able to see the chapters. No way. Oops. Carnegie. That's what it was. I think. No, it wasn't that. No. It was yeah, right there. Win Friends. There. I think this is it right here. All right. Yeah, Dale Carnegie. That's what it was. All right, sweet. Yeah. All right. So watch how he, if I can show you the chapter titles, it's amazing. Now, look, man, at the end of the day, I'm not saying this book will make you rich. I don't believe any of that crap. Power of positive thinking, I don't believe it. But what I do believe, man, can I see the chapters? No, right here. All right. The big secret of dealing with people. He who can do this has a whole world with him. Do this and you'll be welcome anywhere. A simple way to make a good first impression. If you don't do this, you're headed for trouble. An easy way to become a good conversationalist. How to make people like you instantly. You can't win an argument. If you're wrong, admit it. The secret of Socrates. How to get cooperation. A formula that will work wonders for you. Anyway, you can see how. So what's happening here is saying you're saying to yourself, what is this secret? What is this? I need to know what this is. And there's one guy who wrote copywriting. He says they didn't think he could wait. They laughed at him when he sat down to play the piano, and then everything changed or something like that. And you're like, whoa! It's like a story. It's insane. So if you're gonna do a side hustle and you're selling honey or you're selling CBD products or you're selling freaking anything, I don't Etsy stuff. What's it called? Etsy or whatever. Man, you got to have a copyright. You got to have a script in terms of like get people interested, man. And the way you get them interested is not saying, look what I did. It's not saying, look what this can do for you. Not look what I did. No one cares about that. No one cares about you. They care about them. All right. All right. whole life insurance as an investment. Question. Okay. I don't know what you think about your experience with whole life. I didn't see what your experience was. Did you say you commented on my video, whole life insurance as an investment? These freaking people say whole life insurance are scams. Like, how is it a scam? I mean, literally, tell me how it's a scam. How is whole life insurance a scam? Now, it's a scam if some fool says you're going to get 6% a year interest. That is a scam. I think that's more ignorance of the salesman because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. But a scam is you do this, I do this, I come out ahead, and you don't get what you thought you were going to get. Whole life insurance is literally the exact opposite of this. You know exactly what you're going to get for whole life. There's no scam there. To say whole life is a scam might be the most preposterous things I've ever heard. You know exactly what you have to do going into the contract. If you don't do that, it doesn't work. If you do that, i.e. pay your premium, you know exactly what your beneficiaries will get. You know exactly what the minimum guaranteed cash value will be. There is nothing further from a scam than whole life insurance. Now, when people start saying, well, you can take $150,000 a year tax-free, just don't listen to all that. That's dumb. But because, I mean, no one knows. The projections on that are based on just the whole thing. Look, I got friends who do this and it drives me crazy. I'm like, look, dude. And then they'll start saying, oh, the rich. Another thing I hate too, when they start saying, oh, the rich people do this. I don't care. Look, no, all the rich people don't do that. Just because Walt Disney did it doesn't make it so. It's just, oh my goodness. Just the whole thing it irks me. All the rich people do this. You could, freaking withdraw $150,000 a year tax-free just by putting $50,000 a year for 10 years. I'm like, inherently, that makes no sense, man. Is that a scam? Probably. But whole life insurance in of itself, the way it works is not a scam. It's a scam for someone to say you can withdraw $150,000 a year when you're 60 years old just by putting in $50,000 a year between 40 and 50. I think, come on. You're going to put in $500,000 a year from 40 to 50. You're going to withdraw $150,000 a year for the rest of your life at 60. No, that's silly. That's dumb. Don't fall for that. But again, but that's not the whole life insurance. Isn't the scam? It's a salesman. That's a scammer, and that's kind of like saying reverse mortgages are a scam. No. It's like saying firearms are evil. No. It's like saying annuities are bad. No. These things are neither good nor bad. They just are. They're inanimate objects. They have no value at all until you associate a value with them. But they don't do anything. This thing right here does nothing. It's neither good nor bad. It can be used for wonderful, and it could get me addicted to freaking you-know-what. So it can be good or it can be bad. In of itself, it just sits there. Anyway. Yeah. Well, Denise, if your hubby is leaning at 100% spousal survivor benefit, your hubby is a good man. I don't care what you say. So, yes, I'm a fan of survival benefit. I just am. Call me stupid. Call me old-fashioned. And call me not efficient markets and blah, blah, blah. Don't care. The fund will give you millions, guys. Yeah, no, 100%. Credit rating agencies want you to be in debt. That is a fact. They just don't want you to be too much in debt relative to a revolving line of credit, 100%. All right, would I pay down a mortgage? Well, I don't know how much your mortgage is right now. So you're 45 years old. Man, David D is kicking butt and taking names. Would you pay down a mortgage or invest with $250,000? Got $1 million in investments, no other debts. I don't know what your mortgage balance is, so I guess it depends on what your mortgage. Hey, there's my man here. Right on. Harley. Right on. Harley says, watching me instead of Big Brother. Is Big Brother still on? Have I looked at ETF Devo as an income fund? I have not. Sorry, man. If you're debt-free and you don't need to borrow off, and I completely agree. And in fact, you really should not. I mean, at the end of the day, we want to avoid debt. That's a fact. But look, man, no one's going to have enough money to pay cash money for a house today. So you're going to have to, I mean, look, when I say no one, somebody will, I grant you. But most of us regular folks aren't going to have enough money. So you're going to have to take on a mortgage. There's no two ways around that. And that's, look, I'd rather you didn't, but I mostly want you to have that sucker paid off by the time you get by the time retirement comes in. I'm telling you, man. Look, I do financial planning. I work with clients every single day. And the two things jump out. Two things: the cars they drive and the debt they have. And those things go hand in hand. I cannot tell you how many people drive 2013 Toyota Camrys for the missus, 2007 Ford F-150s for the man. And it doesn't have to be a 2013 Toyota Camry or 2007 Ford F-150. It could be any variation of makes, models, vehicles, years. The point being is they're not living fancy schmancy good time rock and roll on their vehicles. They got them paid off. I can't. I'm just telling you right now. That is critical. And a lot of these guys have little to no mortgage as well. It's just mentality. And look, if that's not you, it's okay. Try making that you. Trust me, dudes. I know. Hell, I'm a hypocrite. But try making that you. Say, I'm going to pay off this freaking car before I do anything else. I'm not saying you got to go on beans and rice like Dave Ramsey, but I think there's some value added to that to say, look, freaking tighten up, man. Try it. Try paying off those car loans and never take another one. I'm just telling you right now. Retire next week. Pension and 401k. Should I move my 401k all in Wellington, maybe to Roth? Yeah, whew, that's a big move there, moving all your 401k to a Roth. I'd be very careful about that. Piecemeal, man, piecemeal. What do you think about personal capitaling for retirement modeling? The last in fact, it's funny. I got a Personal Capital wants me to sell their product too, and I don't want to. Not that I don't like them. I don't use it, so I'm never gonna like solicit stuff for you guys if I don't use it. And basically, I don't use that much. But if I use it, I'll sell. I'll say you guys should buy this 100%. But I don't do that very often, except for the books I read. Boom! I just look at this. Speaking of which, look at what I just got in the mail. Hydrogen manufacture by electrolysis. Electrolysis, thermal decomposition, and unusual techniques by this guy, M.S. Casper. Oh man, look at all this stuff right here. This sucker cost me $80, but it's normally for $275. Kinetic parameters for the hydrogen evolution, reaction on polished nickel electrodes in 50. I guess I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, I'm very much looking forward to reading this. Life system cell operations. So let's see what some of these chapters are, shall we? Ooh, hydrogen production by thermochemical processes. Let's see, hydrogen production by electrolysis. Look, I'm not a good pronunciation, never have been. Hydrogen production for the hydrogen economy. Hydrogen production from fossil fuels. Oh no. And this was written in 1978. Very much looking forward to reading this. Actually, it's funny. Hold on. I'll show you. Oh man. Oh, if I can find it. Oh. You guys know what this is? Anybody? Any Irish people around here? There's a good book from the 1960s, Fuel Cells, Power for Tomorrow. Always loved this book. Very interesting. And this is from 1960. And my man said 66, I think, is when it was written. Remember, you always want to buy the books. Don't get it on Kindle because at some point the cabal will take books away from you. We know that. 1966. So check this out. There's a longer range possibility that's been voiced by a number of scientists not given to scaremongering. This is the addition of so much carbon dioxide to our atmosphere that we seriously affect environmental conditions on our planet. The percent of increase of this material is known, although we are not sure about the others. While carbon dioxide in of itself is not a poison, it has the effect of trapping more heat in the atmosphere. All right. In time, this could raise the Earth's temperature high enough to melt the ice caps and thus flood civilized areas. Playing with fire can be dangerous business. Man is belatedly finding out. So remember, this was written in 1966. All right. No, like I'm not blaming this guy. At the end of the day, we think we know science. We don't know crap. So what happened from 66 to basically 79? It was a global cooling scare. All right. So the whole thing about global warming took a side track when in the 70s was global cooling. And they've been saying the ice caps are going to melt for years and years and years and years and years and years. They haven't melted. They're doing just fine. It's just funny, actually. They've been saying that for years. In fact, if you watch Tony Heller, he talks about they've been saying this for so long. It's nuts. The ice caps melting. We've had fishermen going up in the polar Arctics and Greenland and stuff. It's just the whole thing is crazy. Where they thought they're going to be hit with all this ice and they were just able to row on through back in the 1890s and 1900s. We just don't know. No one knows nothing. No one knows nothing. And the idea that man has so much smarts up here relative to the creator is just silly to me. But anyway, anyone knows what this is right here? I forgot what it's called, but it's an Irish, some Irish thing. All right. I'm a big fan of Contra Fund. Yeah, it can't beat Bill Janoff. Is he still running that fund? All right, here comes Jim Bashirs. 64, his better half is 63. She'll get $900 a month at her FRA. If she takes her Social Security now, so we can pay off her bills sooner, will her payments go to half of mine when I take Social Security at? Yes. So well, yes and no. So what's going to happen is it's going to be pretty close. So she'll get $1,350 if she waits until she is 67. If she's 60, wait on 1 second. So she's 2021 minus 63. So hers will be, her full retirement age is 66 and 8 months. I'm just going to say 67. All right. So for better half Jim, all right, she will get $1,350 when she turns 67. That'll be half of yours. All right. So in the interim, she can get $900 a month. Oh, at her FRA. Okay. All right. Gotcha. All right. So what's going to happen is if she takes, so she will get a bump up. It won't be to $1,350. She'll get hers reduced by roughly 4 years. So $900. What's that? It would be about 7.5% a year or something like that. 7.5 times 4. Well, about 30%. So she'll get $600 instead of the $900 if she takes it now. And then she'll get $1,350 minus $600. And then she'll get $750 roughly at her full retirement age. So we'll jump hers up a little bit, Jim, but not that much. Yeah, I mean, that's the challenge. If you wait till you're 67 and she waits until her full retirement age, between you guys, you'll get $4,000 a month. All right. That's if you wait another 4 years. If she takes hers now and you wait till full retirement age, you'll get about $3,400 a month, but you'll get, about $600 a month in the interim. So is that a trade-off? I don't know. It's tough one there. Tough one. All right. Oh man. Ahmad said he's in Australia. It's a very strict lockdown here. The country's going to, yeah. That's sad to hear that, Ahmad. Australia can kiss my big fat behind. Freaking Morrison, another Boris Johnson wannabe. I despise these people. Despise them. I'm sorry to hear that, Ahmad. That freaking sucks, man. Yeah, stock market does not obey the law of physics or any other laws. 100%. Why is Harry still here? Why is Harry still here? This is disgusting, moderators. You should have nuked him a long time ago. Just joking, just joking. Love Harry. If he's eating raisin oatmeal cookies and listening to 80s music, he's a lost soul. No other way around that. I'll pray for him. Is the 10-year still at 1.3? Let's see. Let's see what we're looking at here. The 10-year is at 1.28. Oh man, headed to Branson right on, dude. I tell you, I heard that area down there is awesome. I haven't been there. Is it Branson? No. What's that? Not Branson. Springfield, Missouri. Is that Branson down there, like to the north, the southwest of Springfield? Seems like there's another place down there. I can't remember. But man, I tell you, man, I gotta get up there one time. All right. So how long a maturity can a treasury bond have and still be considered part of the cash bucket? Yeah, I mean, I think, like a CD, so you have, for instance, say you have $100,000 in cash as your 4-year plan. You get 4 CDs, one at 25,000, a second at, 4 individual CDs at 25,000 a pop, 1, 2, 3, 4 year. That's fine. I got no qualm with that at all. John's 48. He's got 750 in a 401k. He owes 250 on the house. Contributes 15K to 401k. How aggressive should I be next decade? Jeez, I don't know. Woo! That's a tough question, man. Tough question. You're doing pretty good. I just say, what if they lay you off? Always looking at what if they lay you off. Look, now I'm 51. I owe more on the house, and I have less than you, and I'm aggressive. I do got a bunch of cash on and I say a bunch. I don't have huge amounts of cash, but I have enough for. I have enough. I don't have enough. I've more than I historically have had. Let's put it that way. So I'm feeling pretty good. I got a big tax bill to pay, but other than that, I'm feeling pretty good. So at the end of the day, the question always comes in: if you lost your job because they downsize you to India, and you were overly aggressive, and now the market fell 50%. 50% is what happened in 2007, 8 until March of 2009. There aren't that many jobs available. That's what you always got to look. What did not fall 50%? Wellesley. Should you be in Wellesley? Probably not. You better have some money sitting on the side just in case. I'm just telling you guys. I don't. You better have some money on the side. And when I say on the side, tips. I bought some tips. I got some cash just in case. Just in case. And I also have a sizable home equity line of credit that's not tapped into, but I don't want to take on debt to pay the bills. That's not what I'm trying to do. As a last resort, sure, but man, I don't want to do that. So now we can all say, yeah, but their jobs are abundant. You can find a job. I don't know that to be true. I mean, it is right now. Is this transitory? I don't know. Transitory. I don't know. All I know is at the end of the day is the market, the economy, it cycles, man. So what is today might not be tomorrow. So just because you're going to easily find a job now doesn't mean you can easily find a job tomorrow. We just don't know. Hey, Shane, right on. Worcester. Man, he bought his beautiful home in Worcester. And I did Maine on the Fred website. I did it. I did it in my video today, Jeremy. I did Maine. This whole thing was about Maine. And my video today what was the name of that video? I was wrong about real estate. You should watch it. I already got 4,000 views. Pretty good. So there I was. I was wrong about real estate. Mostly about Maine, a little bit of Georgia, and South Dakota throw in there. All right. On the chart, the 450K is not spaced properly. Check it out. I'm not sure what chart what we're talking about. Exactly. Right on, chicken. Charlie says, Josh will probably tell you 100% right. That's a good point. So going back to this guy right here, I don't know what his tax bracket is, but I'd want to get some more money outside of my IRA 401k. That's for sure. Right on, chicken. I'm surprised. I thought the downside was bigger in mass in the early 90s. Isn't that funny? Other people commented too. Worcester Rob the mechanic, about the downsize in the 90s. I was not aware of that, actually, which is interesting. That's interesting that other people remember that. It's also interesting. My roommate Adam and I remember we went looking to buy some houses in Manassas in 94, 95, Manassas, Virginia. And I just remember thinking, back then, real estate was priced too high. Of course, I was 25 years old. I didn't know the first thing about nothing, but I just remember let's just put it this way: we both had a little bit of money. We're roomies, so We weren't spending that much, you know what I'm saying? And we both were working pretty hard. Both were working 2 jobs. And we had some money. So we should partner in, go and buy some real estate, man. And we didn't end up doing it. But I'll always remember thinking back, that's, man, these prices are too high. That's in Manassas, Virginia. And now they're bubble-ish. Massachusetts is a great state to visit. So pretty. Plus whatever that lake is. Go Crusaders. I'm sure they're going to change the name from Crusaders because, you know, that's racist. My new favorite baseball team, the Cleveland Guardians. Buffalo. Huge bubble and mass in the 80s. Yeah, right on. Yeah, but who wants to live in Brooklyn? I mean, see, so it's here's a scenario. When the criminals take over, it's a bubble because people will be flocking from these things left and right as the crime element runs rampant. You know, even with stupid Mayor de Blasio, the other cop who's running, who probably win, apparently he's still a big lefty. So anyway, the point being is at the end of the day, you know, when the squeegee men come back, that's probably a bubble, not because of real estate. The mortgage interest rates being low, but just because all the hipsters went in there. You know, after the Rudy Giuliani cleaned it up and made it safe for, you know, rich white hipsters to move into Brooklyn. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, the squeegee men come back. David Dinkins Part 2 comes in there. And all hell's going to handbasket. And those hipsters say, I don't want this. And they're going to move out. Prices drop, not because of interest rates, but because the demand is falling off a cliff. I could see that happen a mile away. But who would want to live in Brooklyn? Oh, the elitism, the smug, like the South Park episode with Jerry Clooney, whatever the guy's name is, George Clooney. I know that's from Hollywood, but the same thing is like Brooklyn. Living in Brooklyn is like being a vegan. Everyone wants to know that you live in Brooklyn. Everyone wants you to know that. Everyone wants to know you're a vegan. Look, do whatever the hell you want to do. I don't care. The minute someone comes up to me and says, I'm from Brooklyn, not that ever happened, but just, it's like, dude, you're a hipster. Bye, if that makes sense. All right. I appreciate Shane. My friend lives on the Cape and prices are crazy there too. I think Bob Casey? Yeah, oh God. Ugh. Bob Casey, the supposed pro-life Democrat that could not speak at the 1992 Democratic Convention because he was pro-life. But they're so tolerant. Let's see here. Drone pilot. 22% tax bracket, married filing jointly, probably in this bracket till retirement. Still good to contribute to a Roth? Yes, 100%, man. Absolutely. So my man Drone or my lady Drone is married filing jointly in a 22% tax bracket. Figures they'll be in that tax bracket throughout. Should they still contribute to the Roth instead of the traditional not to get the tax deduction? I think so, 100%. Now remember, what you put in your Roth 403B, your employer, if they match, will automatically go into your pre-tax anyway. So you're kind of, if there's a match, that match won't go to Roth, they'll go to the pre-tax. Swan Moon, all right. 100K cash, husband's pension, 75 a year. I'm in school for 2 years, no home owned, best deployment. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what we got to know the expenses. Always the expenses. I know you got a pension. Is that enough to cover the expenses? I mean, you got rent and stuff. All right. Well, what about too much money in a red account? No getting around taxes in. Too much money in a regular account? No getting around taxes in. I'm not sure what that conversation was relating to. All right, let's just say I had $1 million in, I don't know, VTI. All right, $1 million in a taxable VTI. Well, we know because Vanguard ETFs there's no capital gain distribution. You'll get qualified dividends on 2%. You know, that's 20,000 a year qualified dividends. I mean, no long-term capital gain qualified dividends of 20,000 a year. If you stay, you know, if you're married filing jointly, and your gross income is 110. All that 12,000 or 20,000 qualified dividends is basically tax free, right? Pretty close. Maybe not. Yeah, pretty doggone close. So I mean, I'm telling you, man, I would much rather have $1 million in a taxable account any day of the week than $1 million in an IRA. It's not even close. Not even close. In fact, I'd much rather have $1 million in a taxable account than probably 1.4 million in an IRA. I'd have to think that through a little bit, but you get the gist. The taxable account is way undervalued for sure. Northern Virginia. I don't think interest rates are going to increase for a long, long time, David. Not a long time. Look, what would cause the interest rates to increase? The debt. I'm going to say this till I'm blue in the face because there are new people here. And we have over 300 people right now on board. It's pretty cool. All right, so the debt causes interest rates to increase, does it? All right. So who's got higher debt to GDP than the U.S.? That would be Japan. Japan's interest rates are still basically negative. They might be actually negative. Right? They're right around negative, and they've been like that for a long time. Their debt to GDP is at 250%. America's about what, 110? Less than half? This whole thing that interest rates have to increase, it boggles my mind. Or else countries won't loan us money. Well, this thing is silly too. So China, they loan us money so we can buy the crappy goods from China. I mean, it's like this perpetual motion machine, essentially. No, that I don't want to say the vast, but the significant amount of debt we owe to ourselves. We just do, man. I mean, Social Security. I've done so many videos on this. I don't want to bore everybody, but at the end of the day, China and Japan, the EU, they don't own us because they have all this of our debt. Not even anywhere near that. And the best thing about being America is that we should call the shots. And this is what Trump was doing, thank the good Lord. And I think maybe Biden might be doing a little bit of this too. Again, he's not doing it, but I think they're starting to see the writing on the wall. They're saying, why would we appease China? For heaven's sake, we're U.S. They need us more than we need them because they have to sell us their goods. The European Union, they don't hold a match. The good old U.S. of A. There's problems with that because we spend too much, I'll grant you. But at the end of the day, China, I mean, they literally, and people say Japan has a current account surplus. That's such a freaking idiotic thing to say. So Japan, they borrow their own debt. Okay, that's the same thing we're doing here in the U.S. The arguments about Japan not being like us, they have a different demographics, they don't have immigration, all that stuff is just as mind-bogglingly infantile to me. I tell you, one guy said the reason Japan can do this because they have a current account surplus. That might be the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. Because I said, well, let's look at all the other countries with current account surpluses. How come they don't have the same thing? The whole thing's nuts. Anyway, I'm much more inclined to say no one knows nothing. But I will tell you right now, there's no threat of long-term interest rates going up if we look at the world as a whole. There just isn't any. And then lastly, you got to think. This I'll never forget. Phil Graham had written this in 2009 in the Wall Street Journal. I probably have it here someplace. The Federal Reserve cannot allow interest rates. Now remember, they don't really control long-term interest rates. I know people think they do, not so much. They control the Fed funds rate, but at the end of the day, they don't really control long-term rates. But be that as it may, let's just say they do. The Federal Reserve cannot allow interest rates to go up to historical norms. And I think even back then, the 10-year was like at 3, and they were talking 5, because then the interest on our debt would be the number one line item in the entirety of the federal budget. That was in 2009, or number 2 line item. I can't remember what it was, but it's like up there. It's like Killer Cuomo. Why did he put old people in nursing homes who had COVID? Because his number 2 line item on the budget was Medicaid, long-term care facilities. So how do we reduce our budget? Well, I'll let you make that connection there. You think they wouldn't do it? I'm not saying anything. I'm just throwing it out there, allegedly. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, interesting. Number 2 expense in New York State is long-term care, Medicaid. What we're going to do with old people have COVID, we're going to force them into nursing homes, which also happens to be our number 2 expense. Yeah, I'll let you put that together. So the federal government then would say have a huge incentive to keep interest rates low, as if they don't really, but yeah, you get what I'm saying. And inherently, because they can't afford a higher interest rate payment. They can't afford higher coupons. They just can't. Now, could the bottom fall out of mortgages? And people say, I don't see that happening anytime soon, but sure. I mean, could that ever happen? Yes. The amount of liquidity out there is insane in terms of the money, the cash money that the banks have. There's not enough lenders. The banks are desperate. There's not enough, not lenders, not enough borrowers, I should say. And as such, it's just a fight it's just like the ETF race. The fight to the bottom on fees is great. It's wonderful for the consumers. It's the same thing with the bankers. Well-appointed borrowers, you can call your terms, man. That's all there is to it. Remember, the number one line item in a bank's P&L statement is net interest income, NII. Net interest income is lending money. All right, that's the number one line item. The banks don't want all this money sitting in cash. They want to lend it. The more lending they do, what does that do? Well, you have to have the demand. All right. So if you have the demand, in theory, you would say we can raise rates because the demand is high. But not if you have this huge amount of liquidity sitting there, just sitting there, waiting to go out in the market to loan to people. Rates aren't going up anytime soon. That's my opinion. We shall see. Have I heard about the Chinese general buying Texas land with an airstrip? I haven't heard about it. I don't know. But they're gonna quantify it. They're gonna say they're putting wind turbines on there, because if it was wind turbines, it's okay. What we should do is say, no, the Chinese are going to put pipelines on. Then the left will go crazy. Can't have that. Here, Gretchen Whitmer, did you hear what she tried to do? I was going to do a video on this. I decided not to. She wanted to close the pipeline in Michigan that was responsible for 85% of all propane distribution to Michiganders, if that's how you say it. Michigan landers, I don't know how you say it. She wanted to close the pipeline that's been around since 1956. Sans any issue at all. How were Michigan people going to heat their freaking homes, you stupid fool, Whitmer? You half-wit. With solar panels? Are you wind turbines? Are you such a freaking maroon to think that? They are. The left, they don't think. They have no sense of reality. It's insane. We will it. We want it. Thus it will happen with wind turbines and solar. And don't forget, the left hates hydro as well. You know what I'm talking about, hydro. They hate that too because you got to dam up stuff. So the only thing, solar and wind. Biomass? Hell, dude, give me a friggin' break. So they hate it all. They hate nuclear. You know why? Because they hate human beings. This is the whole point. So the same people who are hip freaking on COVID, we got to save lives, are the same people who don't want us to heat our houses. Never mind with just good old-fashioned wood stoves. Someone's telling me they banned wood stoves in parts of Colorado or something like that. That's freaking nuts. I'm sure they couched it under like, we don't want forest fires. Hell, man, nuts. They don't want you self-sufficient. They want you on their grid so they can control you, man. It's nuts. And the idea, just really, if you think that you can heat your house and every American with solar, photovoltaic, and wind, you have lost your freaking marbles. And this is not a channel for you, because this is a channel where reality kicks in. We don't live in unicorns here. We live in a reality. And reality is you need fossil fuels, or you got to get nuclear. But the left hates nuclear, and so what else are you going to do to heat your home? It's not going to be solar. So what they should do in China is say, no, man. If I was Chinese, to say, look, I'm putting solar panels and I'm putting wind turbines on there. And Sniffy Joe said, come on in, Mandarins. Come on. We love you. We love you. We'll be singing your praises. Yeah, I pay Irma just because I have odd income. In fact, it's funny. This is the way it is. I look, man, at the end of the day, Maine is getting, I posted this on my channel today, if I can find it. The great state of Maine, which I love, as you all know, is getting ready to, let's see. Maine becomes first state to charge firms that don't use eco-friendly packaging materials. Now, I don't like the eco-friendly crap, but it's a user fee, man. You don't have to pay the tax if you don't use the products. It's that simple. And what the reason they're doing it is because what they're shifting the cost from the municipalities because recycling is such a boondoggle. We all look, recycling is the biggest scam there's ever been in the history of mankind. We all know that. But so they're shifting the cost from the municipalities for their insane recycling to the consumers. Inherently, I don't have any problem with that, none whatsoever. It's a user fee. I got no qualm with user fees. What I do have a qualm with is when they're packaging it on, we're going to save the earth. It's all they're doing is they're saying, we don't have the money to pay for this. So we're going to package it in a green because we'll get the left off us. The left is so easy, dude. All you got to do is say, I'm running a campaign on carbon neutral. Send me, I might have to do that. I might say, I am running a carbon neutral campaign. Send me money so I can be more carbon neutral, because carbon dioxide, ooh, that's evil. Evil, I tell you. That's what I should do. How can I get rich off that? I could say I'm buying land in Texas and I need a government grant so I can put wind turbines and solar photovoltaic on there. And I promise to be carbon neutral. And I need government money to do this so we can all be green. And then the government will give me all this money. I'll spend like a drunken sailor. We'll be partying like it's 1999 with all my rowdy friends. And then when the money runs out, I'll say, hey, it just didn't work, man. The physics aren't there. I thought they were because people have been saying the physics are there. I know they're not and they never will be, but I thought it might be different this time. Interesting. Let's see here. All right. All right, we'll just a couple more. I'm going to get out of here. When you do Roth conversions, does it affect your tax return? Absolutely. It's taxed as ordinary income, Joa, ordinary income. So if you're in a high tax bracket, Roth conversions are taxed in that same high tax bracket. And they can put you into a higher tax bracket too. So buyer beware, amigo. QK, damn good question. Did I miss it? Did I miss a QK? Damn good question. Oh, about Chinese. Okay, right on. When will Howard the Duck return? The hell is Howard the Duck? Hey, Pablo. What's up, buddy? Yeah. When they start selling houses to unqualified buyers, that's when it'll collapse. That's one of the benefits about the Pablo does not like this thing. It's okay. He does not like this. It's okay, big boy. Why would you want RMDs to be pushed to 75? I don't get that. I don't get this fascination with the required distribution dates. It doesn't make sense to me. You shouldn't be living. You shouldn't operate your retirement plan around RMDs. That doesn't make sense. All right, looks like we're. All right, so just as an FYI, my friends, so Jim asked this question at least 3 times. I got no qualm with that, but we get to the question as they come. If you want to be, now I'm going to call it a night here. If you want to be put to the front, you put a super chat. I know that sounds bad, but people ask questions. I take them as they come, and sometimes I just yap. Sometimes we go into other categories that weren't part of the question, but it is what it is, man. That's the way it works, and it's just. Yeah, it is what it is. I'll get your question or I won't, but I'll get your question if you super chat. I promise you that. Well, I shouldn't say I promise you. I don't know. Most likely I will. But at the end of the day, I do my best to answer the questions. But if you put it on 3 times, that does begin to get annoying. It's not that I didn't see it, but if I see it 3 times, I'm starting to say, you should have super chatted that. All right, my friends. I'm gonna get out of here. It's been 2 hours. I do appreciate y'all being here. Thanks again for the. I guess let's see. All right, Solyndra, exactly. Exactly, Cylindra. I saw someone ask a gifting question that was pretty good. Yeah, but it was no that hit was hit by an anchor, and it's not a danger. No, it's not. When they did the thing on the anchor, what did they say? No toxins were spilt or something like that. It was not an issue. It's very interesting. I mean, I'm telling you, man, there's tons of stuff on there. So it was hit by an anchor. It caused some damage. Nothing. There's no toxins on that. Look it up. I'm telling you, look it up. It's crazy. But I did see a question on gifting I want to talk about here. Yeah, George Floyd. Why are we making? There's so many righteous black dudes. Why are we making a martyr out of this clown? It's crazy. In Oklahoma and Texas, horrible. I saw a gifting question. I guess I missed it. No, that pipeline did not. That pipeline supplies Michigan. Okay. Yeah, what I mean, if you love Jesus, you got nothing to fear. I mean, it's what it always comes down to, man. If you love Jesus, we know how this ends. Now, it might end with us on our knees and our freaking, the heel in our back front neck. Sure. This does. This is temporary. That is permanent. That's all that matters. I just want to hear, well done, good and faithful servant. If I hear that, all's good. All right, I guess I'm going to miss that question the guy asked about gifting. So I do like gifting questions, but I missed it. All right. We're going to get out of here then, man. I appreciate you all. Much obliged. We'll see you guys on. Oh, right. Here we go. Sweet. There we go. He's decided to give his 3 children over $300K over 5-year stock gifts. Any thoughts? All right. So he's giving your 3 kids each $300,000 over 5 years. All right. So that'd be $60,000 a year. And you're giving about $1 million roughly. I don't know why you'd be making stock gifts. I don't like that. All right. So remember, guys, when you're Kim says, don't let the bed bugs bite. The 2 bed bugs, Pablo and Finney. All right. Remember, when you're gifting stocks, you're gifting your cost basis as well. Now, if your kids are needing the money to build a home and stuff like that, man, I got no qualm with that whatsoever. None. And that might be a good way to gift, but generally speaking, we don't want to give appreciated assets downstream because you're gifting your cost basis, i.e., when you die, those will transfer tax free. When you gift and they turn around and sell it, they're going to sell with whatever the cost basis that they they received from you about a gift, and then they're going to sell at whatever the price is, and they're going to have to pay the capital gain tax on that. So I'm not a fan of gifting stocks if I can leave it to an inheritance. Now, my man Scott looks pretty young here, so I'm not sure how long he's got on this earth, but I don't know the situation. But what I say is, man, be careful before you gift stocks. Okay, gotcha. All right, and okay, right on. No, okay, right on, Scott. Yeah. If you have cost, someone's gonna have to pay the tax on it. So there's no getting around that. Well, I think boy. Believe it or not, I don't know your whole situation. I think I still prefer a gift of, you can't give an IRA, but you can take the money out, pay the tax, but then you got to pay the tax and gift it to them. Look, they're not going to make gift tax. I mean, you're going to have to file 709 for each kid, but it's all tax free. Gift tax free. So there's no gift tax here. So you're going to have to take $1 million out of your IRA. You'll pay the tax on it, and you give the money to your kids, or you just give them the stock, let them pay the tax. I think I just give the stock. assuming they're also in a lower tax bracket than you anyway. You're 63, you're helping them out, so they're probably not making that much cash. Yeah, and let them pay the capital gain tax. That's probably your best bet. I'm trying to think what other things off the top of my head. That's probably the best way to do it, man. Yeah, I think that's what I do. So here you go, guys. Sell the stocks, be capital gain to you, off your cost basis. Still, long-term capital gain is better than ordinary income. Yeah, I think that's what I do, man. Yeah, but it won't even. So my man Harry says, if you're married, you both get the annual exclusion. It won't matter here. I mean, in some way it matters, but not much. Unless Scott has big plans on giving away over $5 million over the course of his life, it won't matter. Again, the annual exclusion is what, $15,000 each per Charlotte and Josh, so we could give our kids $30,000 each, gift tax free, and not have to file a 709. We could still give $30,000 each anyway, not have to file a 709, but it's still tax free, gift tax free. And Scott might be giving him $5 million over the course of his life. I highly suspect that's not going to happen. So just remember, the annual exclusion is different than the lifetime exemption. Just keep that in mind, man. The annual exclusion is the amount you can give on any given year, $15,000 per Social Security number, without filing a 709. Any amount above that, you get to file a gift tax return. It's just the IRS form 709, no big deal. But it just shows you the IRS. They keep a running tally of how much you gifted over the course of your life. That's just not that big of a deal. So, yeah, I like questions like that. Good stuff, man. All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you all